Welcome to episode 19 of The Week in Gear, the show in which I rank the most exciting guitar gear released in the last 7 days, all the way up to my pick of the week. So, if you're a gear addict, make sure to hit that subscribe button and prepare to get gas. Before we get into this week's gear, I just want to say thank you for all the support that you've shown me and this show. A few of you reached out to me on social media and said that you watch every week and that it's the highlight of your Saturday. Thank you. That means a lot, and if you want to show further support, I'll let you know how to do that at the end of this video. Right, let's talk about this week's sponsor. Making this show possible this week are the lovely people at 𝗬𝗏𝗡. 𝗬𝗏𝗡 have a bunch of DIY guitar kits, and I have my eye on this offset hardtail. If you'd like to try your hand at building your very own guitar, 𝗬𝗏𝗡 have everything you need, from the kit to the strings to paint to specialized luthier tools. Follow the link in the video description to build your dream guitar and get a special discount courtesy of your old pal, TheGuitarGeek. Okay, let's kick off this week's most exciting gear releases with a noise suppressor. Boss are back, and this time it's their first new noise suppressor pedal since 1987. That was 36 years ago, and I was just starting school. With metal guitar being ever more popular, we must remember that with great high gain tone comes great noise, and now there are more ways than ever to suppress that noise. Boss quite rightly have updated the classic NS2 to this NS-1x. This new pedal is powered by Advanced Multi-Dimensional Processing, or MDP, which sounds very fancy. A noise gate needs to be absolutely transparent and fast-acting, and Boss claim that this new pedal does just that. It has 3 modes: reduction, which is a gentle setting for things like single coil hum; gate, a more aggressive setting aimed at high gain players; and mute, which turns the pedal into... For those of you with noisy pedals, such as a handful of fuzzes, there's a send-return loop as well. There's control for dampening, threshold, and decay, but my favorite feature, definitely favorite, is the LED reduction indicator that shows the current status of the noise reduction, going across like Knight Rider. The Boss NS2 is a classic, but the specs of this NS-1x and the 36 years in between them certainly points to the new one being an improvement. And while it's not the most exciting pedal in the world, a noise suppressor is something that you may not know you need until you try one. The NS2 is still available at around $100, whereas the NS-1x will set you back at just over $200. And only you can decide if that's a good deal. At number 4 this week, 𝗬𝗩𝗔𝗔𝗓𝗏 have revamped their Premier series semi-hollow guitar. Premier. With a name like Premier series, I really thought these would be pricey, premium pricing, but they're coming in at around €899. The Premier SS, DC, and Mini DC all have upgrades and new vintage-inspired finishes: brown burst, dark iced tea burst, and black flake. The DC is a double cutaway, think Gibson 335, the Mini DC is more like the 339 and is slightly smaller, and the SS is a single cut jazz box lookalike a la Gibson L5, but all with stop tail bar and a Tune-o-matic bridge. Do they come with a hard case? No, but there is a gig bag. They all have Grover tuners and Graphtec nuts, and they seem extremely good value for the money, until you consider that many of the older, non-upgraded models are still available, and they currently still come with Seymour Duncan pickups. They're on sale. You can pick them up for not very much money. Even so, with these specs and these prices, the new models are still very attractive and deserve to be looked at. So, if you see one out in the wild, let me know. In the meantime, I will put links to the old models that are on sale so you can pick up a bargain. Fender are back on the list again with yet another signature Strat. This time it's from Mike McCready from Pearl Jam. This is in fact a more affordable version of the existing custom shop Fender signature Strat. This one has a relict 3-tone nitro finish and is made in Mexico. That road-worn finish is going to be divisive, but even as a non-Pearl Jam fan, I really dig this look. Specs-wise, we're looking at an older body, slim C maple neck with a 9.5-inch radius slab rosewood fingerboard with 21 Jescar medium vintage frets. The pickups are custom Mike McCready vintage style Strat pickups, although not the same pickups that are in his custom shop versions, and this is wired into a 5-way switch with a treble bleed circuit. It's also got a vintage style 6-screw trem system, and does it come with a hard case? You know it does. Deluxe brown hard shell. Ooh. On the one hand, this is just another sunburst Strat, but on the other hand, I freaking love it. I don't think you need to be a Pearl Jam fan to like this guitar, and I can see plenty of players wanting to pick one of these up, as that relic finish is very cool. The price is not so attractive, however. It's around $1,699 for this made in Mexico model, and although that is about 10% of the Fender custom shop version, still a whole chunk of change. The last time Fender released a made in Mexico signature Strat was only a few weeks ago, the Tom DeLonge signature, and that had some quality control issues. Even though I don't think this Mike McCready model will be made in the high numbers that the Tom DeLonge was, I think there's a lot riding on this new model. If this also comes with QC problems, we could be seeing a serious lack of trust in Fender Mexico. And I think going forward could be tough for them. Okay, for the first time ever, I really had trouble deciding on a pick of the week. Usually it's pretty clear which piece of gear I find most exciting. But this week it's been a real toss-up between two amplifiers, both of which I've played and both of which I absolutely loved. In the end, I decided that one was slightly more exciting purely down to what a great deal it is. So, in its second place this week is the new Royalist from Toneking. This is a beautiful looking, beautifully spec'd, and beautiful sounding amp. I first played this at Gear Street last year with my dear friend Mike, and it blew us away. It's a 2-channel 60s and 70s Marshall style amp with 3 modes to satisfy lovers of British tones. There's 1964, 1967, and 1970, which ranges from cleanish JTM 45 blues breaker to bitey plexi to a more aggressive super lead tone. The Royalist is all tube and has 3 12AX7A preamp tubes and 2 EL34 power tubes and a 5 AR4 rectifier tube for authentic sagging. The 2 channels have a shared EQ and presence, but each channel has its own voice mode, meaning you can have a plexi on one channel at a certain volume, and then a super lead on the other channel at a different volume. There's also pull-out fat modes for adding big bottom to both channels, and here is the really exciting thing. Even though the Royalist is 40 watt and loud, it has 2 attenuators built in, so you can independently attenuate each channel. As I said, I've played this and it was absolutely sublime. And more good news, there's one winging its way to me right now, so expect a full in-depth review in the coming weeks. This boutique amp is not cheap at around $2,500, but if you have that kind of cash to spend and you plug into one, you better be prepared to walk out carrying it. Andy's Pick of the Week. My pick of the week this week is the Blackstar HT Venue Mark III series. This is the new series of amps that Blackstar put out, hoping to provide guitarists with everything they need from a tube amp. From clean tones to overdrive to surprisingly high-gain chuggy tones, the new Blackstar amps kind of do it all. In this Mark III range is the Club 40 combo, the Club 50 head, the Stage 60 1x12, the Stage 60 2x12, and the Stage 100 head, along with a bunch of new cabs. There's a 4x12, a 2x12, and 1x12, all with Celestion speakers. The 2 smaller amps have 2 channels, clean and overdrive, while the 60 1x12 and above have an additional OD2 channel. but all amps have a selection of voices for each channel. I tried the 100-watt head at Gear Street a few weeks ago, and I felt really at home with it, and it felt like the 3-channel setup reminded me of my Marshall valve estate that I used in the 90s. However, they do not compare in terms of sounds or features. The valve estate was nice from a nostalgia point of view, but these new Blackstars are superb. All the amps come with digital reverb, which can be user-defined, and all amps come with Cab Rig, Blackstar's cab simulation for getting mic'd up guitar cab sounds out of the amp via an XLR cable. In addition, there's a jack line out and headphone socket, an effects loop, and USB-C for using the free Cab Rig software and for recording direct to a computer. I use the St. James in the studio and live, and that is extremely light and very convenient. The Venue Stage 100-watt head is not light. It's extremely heavy and nothing like the St. James, but it does kind of feel like a real amp. If you need something really versatile and potentially very loud, then take a look at this new series, especially as the prices are far lower than what I expected. The HT40 can be found as cheaply as $949, and the 100-watt head as cheaply as $999. There are links to those in the video description, of course. I love these amps so much, I really look forward to trying them again next week at Guitar Summit. Okay, that's it for gear this week, but before I leave you to click all the links and drool over that lovely new gear, some of you have asked how you can help make sure that this weekly show continues. So I thought I'd give you the option to support the show and get cool stuff in return. How would you like to see your name on screen and have it read out at the end of every episode of The Week in Gear? Well, now you can join the channel, which gives you a bunch of benefits. You also get a special badge next to your username that we can all see, and joining starts at €2.99 a month, or whatever that is in your local currency. If you fancy supporting the show a little bit more, there are additional levels of support you can offer, which get you more perks, including me sending you the backing tracks that I make for all my gear reviews. If you already support me on Patreon, like these beautiful people, I will automatically be adding your name, and you don't need to support me twice, unless for some weird reason you want to. And if Patreon or channel membership is not currently an option for you, don't worry. You can still support and help grow this show simply by leaving a comment below or sharing the video in a gear forum or on your social media. I really love making this show, and if you love watching it, I hope you can show the show even more love than you already do. Thank you. Also, big thanks to 𝗬𝗪𝗡 for sponsoring this episode. And if you enjoyed this and want to be kept up to date on all new guitar gear, go ahead and click there to subscribe. Let us all know what your pick of the week is in the comments section, and I'll see you in the next one. Till next week, bye!